All right, aloha, friends. Welcome to another episode of Game Time with the Goss. I'm Brian Gossett. Today, very exciting guest, head coach from LD Bell, TJ Dibble, coming off a pretty historic victory for his Blue Raiders to finish out the season 24-21 against rival Euless Trinity. First win in the series since 1997, snapping a 25-game losing streak to the Trojans. Thanks for hopping on, TJ. Really appreciate it. Just yeah, how crazy was that scene? Just to the streak is over. You guys pulled it off. Just kind of paint the scene there as the final seconds were ticking.
Yeah, well, appreciate you having me on and for what you do and the coverage that you provide for our kids. But obviously, 25 years is a really long time. So we're all still smiling, about obviously the success that we had on Thursday night, but just so proud of our kids and our coaches and our program and the support that we've gotten from this community here at Bell High School is really special. And if you were there on Thursday night, just the crowd alone and the energy and the atmosphere from both sides, from both schools and both sides of this community was really special. And, that's kind of what makes this place special. That's why that game is so important. And for our kids, to accomplish that Thursday night, I think says a lot about, our program and our kids, but also kind of the things that we talk about. I don't know that anybody picked us to win, we were really close last year. Felt like, we had an opportunity, but this year to accomplish that goal and to finally, beat Trinity after 25 years. And that's a credit to their program, the success they've had, over the last, 25 years as well. But still excited and just the energy and, the people that have alumni and the people that have reached out to me or to us on social media and just it makes everybody proud. And so our kids are excited to be a part of that. And our senior class really, they've kind of, etched their names in kind of the history books here with their legacy and really to start a new era of this rivalry that, at the end of the day is better for both us and Trinity when both teams are competitive. It makes our community better.
Yeah, I mean, what's the last 3 days been like? Just you still getting those emails and text messages?
Yeah, what's really cool is I think when we the final second ticked off the clock and the students kind of rushed the field, and it was a kind of a hectic, crazy moment. We're trying to corral kids and just make sure everybody was safe. But then I probably had 500 hugs of, on the field and maybe 90% of those were people that I don't even know, a lot of students and players and former players, but guys that I graduated with that had come back to the game and alumni and people that have had kids come through the Bell system and just old coaches and players and members of this community that have always loved and been invested in Bell High School and our students and our campus, just to see their excitement and to see, just how thankful and how grateful they were to be a part of it was pretty cool.
I know you've probably had 500 text messages or close to it. Just anyone that kind of stood out.
I think my favorite thing is hearing from 3 years ago when we got to Bell. We lost. I mean, it was 40 something to nothing. And that group of seniors. A lot of those guys reached out to me, and even our seniors from last year, Trey Wilson and Colton Panther and, all the guys. There's so many guys that have reached out, and I think it just makes it special because they know and understand that even though they may not have been on the field on Thursday night, those guys played an important role in kind of, creating a culture and building a team and a program that can be competitive with a Euless Trinity, and like I said before, we have a ton of respect for their kids and their coaches and the type of program that they've had over the last, 2 decades. And, for those kids to reach out and to feel like they're still connected and be a part of it, I think that maybe the most meaningful thing to me is, tying everybody back together. We had guys, some of my coaches, Jack Gibson, obviously Tim Edwards, and just reached out. And then, my linebacker coach and kind of my hero from high school, Paul Chabet, those guys were down there on the sideline, and to have them experience it and be a part of it and know how much it means to them, I think was really what kind of makes it special.
Yeah, coming up short last year in overtime and almost breaking the streak then. And I was at that game. Uh, I know how much you wanted to win that game that year, but I don't know. After that game happened, or a couple weeks after, I mean, could you already tell that this? Because we were wondering. There's probably people outside of Bell that were thinking, okay, that's a close game, and then now it's going to be blowouts again. But could you already feel that tide sort of turning last year, even though you came up just short?
Well, last year's game was the closest margin of victory in 25 years. So when you look at it, there's been a run of 25 years. Before that 25 years, Bell actually was ahead in the series. They had won 16, and I think Trinity had won 12 since 1970. And so it's always been really, really evenly matched. And then, again, credit to Trinity and kind of the run that they went on, for the past 25 years. And they're still, I mean, they're in the playoffs, and we're taking up equipment this week. So, just we really felt like as a program, we had to kind of narrow the gap and build confidence in our kids that they could be competitive. And then, my message to the team before the game was, 25 years of history, it did not impact Thursday night. It didn't. It had no impact on the way we played that night, and you'd like to have a moral victory and say, yeah, we lost in overtime, but the reality is we graduated 57 seniors last year. And so that's almost like starting over an entire new team. And so for our kids, the message was, the past results, whether they're positive or negative, do not, correlate to winning games this year. It's not the way it works. Especially when you run a football program, we're going to have 47 kids graduate again this year, and so to develop those kids, to make them understand that it's the work that we do now, it's the plays that we make tonight, it's the focus, the preparation this week that matters, not, all the one possession losses we've had in the last 2 years. I mean, there's only 2 games in the last 2 years that we've lost by more than one possession. And that's been against North Crowley, and they're one of the best teams in the state right now. So we knew that we're really close. We've been competitive against really good teams. Last year was a good example of that, but this year, our kids and our kids' mindset had to be, that this game stood alone, and it was about them and their preparation. And a lot of these kids, at Bedford Junior High's 9th graders, they won a city championship. As JV football players, they beat Trinity and won a JV district championship. And so I think, tracking that and their belief in themselves and knowing that they could do it was a huge, huge part of the success on Thursday.
Talking with TJ Dibble, head football coach at Bell High School. So just kind of moving forward, you mentioned you had 57 seniors last year. What does this year's group look like? Is it another large senior class, or most of them are coming back next year?
Yeah, so we graduate 47 seniors this year. And I'm really proud of that number because I think a healthy 6A program like ours, a Division I school with the number of kids that we have, and every one of those kids' role is different. I mean, not all those kids start and play every snap, but we try to make sure that those kids understand that this program has value for them. It makes them, our program goal is better people make better Blue Raiders. And so for those kids and that class of kids to be a part of it, whether it was Maddox Olatunde, who was our quarterback, or Tristan Johnson, or some of our other guys that were senior players that contributed on a daily basis, maybe behind the scenes, just to see their joy and excitement was really special, but this team, our JV blue team was 10-0 and won a district championship this year. Our JV white was 9-1, and only lost one game. And so we really feel good about the young kids coming in our program. Our feeder system and our feeder pattern had a lot of success 7th through 9th grade. And so the future is really bright. And we're going to have the same message to our kids this year. Just because you won, 19-1 as a JV doesn't mean you're going to win, 10 games as a varsity football team. There's work still to be done, but there's no doubt that the future and the potential and the work that those young kids are putting in creates optimism for next season and moving forward.
Awesome. So, again, unfortunately, you just missed the playoffs by a few points in tiebreaker. You guys did finish in a three-way tie for third place. But again, you beat Trinity. You're close to the playoffs. I mean, was this? I don't know if I used the word successful, but in your mind, was it a successful season?
Oh, absolutely. I told her we had a varsity breakfast on Saturday to kind of celebrate because I want to celebrate our kids' success. Number one, we were a 7-3 football team, in 6A Division I in the state of Texas. And I don't care, what district you play in. That's hard to do. So to be a 7-3 football team, to beat two of the four playoff teams in our district, I told our kids, that makes you a playoff team. I know we're not playing this week in the playoffs, but we beat Boswell by 2 points in a close football game, and I really think that game was a huge step forward for our program. To beat a quality program like Boswell and Coach Weaver, who's done an outstanding job, to win that game really kind of propelled us and showed us that we could win some of those close games. And a football season is all about matchups and timing. And unfortunately for us this year, we didn't win. We had a 1 possession loss against Crowley. We had a 5 possession loss against Weatherford, and credit to their programs. But at the end of the day, when you look at our body of work and the people that have seen our team play this year, and obviously the way we finished the year, our kids need to be proud, and our coaching staff should be proud, and our community is proud of this season. And although we might not be playing this next week, I still think, there was a lot of success to celebrate. And 25 years is a really long time, and so for us to accomplish that goal in a lot of ways, I felt like that may be more significant for our program right now than any playoff berth or, I would even maybe say a playoff win. And there's still something out there for our younger kids to shoot for. And I think the reality is, the Bell Trinity game should be a 1 possession game every year, and not saying that it will be, but that is what a rivalry is, right? When two competitive football teams meet at the end of the season, that makes it more exciting for everybody.
Yeah, and I got to give a shout out to your kicker against Boswell, Andrew, who was up for my Player of the Week voting that week. Hit the game-winning field goal with 15 seconds left, which I think he had. I think all 3 field goals were from the same distance, which I've never heard of before.
Yeah,
But
that was kind of a weird stat that night. I think they were all 29-yard field goals or something, but he has really become a weapon for us. He's super talented. And a lot of when we did our end of season evaluation last year, we were a field goal away at times or a possession away in those tight games. And we really focused on our kicking game. Our coaches do a great job of taking pride in that. We've got a new guy on staff, Jesse Smitherman, who works directly with our specialists, our kickers and our snappers and our holders. And I think that's made a difference. And at the end of the day, AJ's got to go out there and make those kicks. He missed one earlier in the game and he was beating himself up about it a little bit. And I just said, hey man, we've got to have a next play mentality because you're going to roll out there and you're going to have to kick another field goal in this game. And it might be the one to win it. And it ended up playing out that way. But to have him to be able to kick with the range that he has truly has been an advantage for us this year.
And just curious because with the playoffs coming up, And I don't know if you had a chance to look at the brackets or divisions, but I mean, what do you think about the playoffs coming up? Uh, with North Crowley being from your district,
Yeah.
can you see North Crowley, making a run to state?
Oh, absolutely. Coach Gates, North Crowley was really good last year, and this year they're better. I think they're better almost at every position. Another year in their system and their scheme. Coach Gates, I have a ton of respect for, and it's not just about the type of talent that they have, but it's the job that he has done coaching those kids and getting them to buy into the system. I'm not I don't have picks like you guys do, and but I've watched enough football. I think, in my opinion, I think North Crowley has a great opportunity to make a pretty good run here and meet up with Prosper again. I haven't watched Prosper a ton this year, but I have watched a lot of North Crowley, and so I mean, there's an outside chance you might see a North Crowley Trinity rematch, down the road. I mean, if you look at Trinity's path, and again, it's all about matchups, in my opinion. What you do scheme wise and how it matches up with opponents. But I think both North Crowley and Trinity have a chance to make pretty good runs here in the playoffs, and we may be looking up in round 4 or whatever it is, and we might have another rematch. So, but both really talented teams, and I know their coaching staffs will have them ready to play.
Yeah, North Crowley will host Keller, and Trinity will host Timber Creek in Division One by district. I'll get you out on this again. Just curious, you're on your take. We have realignment coming up in February. Um, rumors are Pasco's dropping to 5A and Alito's moving up to 6A, which in my mind, you just kind of swap. Alito just swaps out Pasco. Uh, I mean, what is your take on the next 2 years? Is it going to be pretty much the same teams in your district? I know there's a lot of teams in this area in 5A that are moving up, so we're going to get a lot of teams in 6A, which I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, what's your take on the realignment?
Well, I wish I knew if I had the answers, I'd be a millionaire right now, because every coach in the state of Texas is wanting to know. And the one thing I've learned about realignment is just when you think you know something, you absolutely know nothing. So I do think, and just from what I've seen in the past, you usually start west. You start out with the Alitos or anybody coming up. I think we'll keep a close eye on Northwest, who's moving up, is supposed to move up to 6A. I think if they bump Haltom out of that district, I think that displaces Haltom, which, with Pascal going down, Haltom is a possible option to replace, Pascal in our district if Pascal moves down. But with Alito being out there, if they do come up to 6A, and you got to think about where to put them too. So I don't know that anybody has the answers until we see that cutoff and the number. I think we'll all just be guessing. And but it's an exciting time of year. It always is. And we'll be watching closely for sure.
And I actually got one more question. I should have asked this earlier, but I've asked coaches like, Coach Dodge this at South Lake. Just uh, you graduated from Bell in 2000. And obviously you came back to Bell to coach your alma mater. What is it like to coach your school and to have these sort of accomplishments and milestones? How much more sweeter is that for you?
Well, my from the day I got on here in our first season and we were 2-8. I mean, this truly has been a dream come true for me. And not just because of the people I work with and our administration. Randy Belcher, our principal, has been amazing and supported us in everything we do. And I truly believe that this is a special place. My kids go to school in the district. My wife works here. And, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be here because I played here. I graduated from LD Bell, and it's always been special. And so to come back and to be able to share that with these young men that we coach, and to be able to bring in quality people to continue that legacy of what Bell High School is, and what so many guys and girls and students and administrators and teachers have kind of created a standard before us. Really I'm just thankful to be a part of it. And, you know, for us to have success, I think is a direct reflection of what this community represents, what our administrative staff has done to support us. And then at the end of the day, our kids have shown up and done the work and have truly believed in what we've asked them to do.
Awesome. Well, again, TJ, congratulations on the season and the win there against Trinity. And really appreciate you hopping on and enjoy the off season.
Well, nobody enjoys off season, but I tell you what, we're really excited to get back to work. And we, like I said before, thank you for your coverage. We love what you do for us and our students, and thank you for having us be a part of it.
Awesome. That's TJ Dibble, head football coach at Bell High School. And for Maddie Colley and GM Sports Media, I'm Brian Gossett. This is Game Time with the Goss. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.